Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to talk to you about...
responsible convention going.
Yes. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk to you guys about today is this 6-2-1 rule. And we're going to break it down in quite a lot of detail so that you don't fret over the basics of it, and it really drills into your skull that you should do this. So the first part of it is at least 6 hours of sleep. Your average person will probably go to sleep on a normal day at like 10 p.m., wake up at a freaking like 6 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. No?
7.
Is that insane people that do that?
That's you. That's you. I get up at like 7:30.
Okay. Alright, 7:30. Okay, alright, it's okay. People get up that. Okay. That's a nice night. That's a nice night. That's a good night's sleep.
Like 8 hours.
At conventions, you're probably going to go to sleep at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Because the dances don't start till 9.
Yeah, and they don't stop at midnight.
They don't. The party goes on.
Yeah, so, and then you're probably going to get really drunk. If you're over the age of 21, you probably get really drunk. Be responsible with your drinking. You can party, but don't go too hard. I mean, go hard, but don't go too hard. There's a limit. And more importantly, enjoy it, have fun, but part of having fun is getting enough sleep. So, if you're gonna do all the crazy partying, just know that you're really gonna have to sleep at some point, and you don't have to wake up at the ass crack of dawn like everybody else. Because if you're there for the partying, very likely you are also there for the evening stuff more than the morning stuff. So get your sleep, try to get more sleep than you possibly can, because it will definitely help you recover. And if you're not there for the partying, it can get really easy to get wrapped up in just making friends with people, and you then realize that, oh crap, it's like 1, 2 in the morning and I want to get up for this panel at 8. So I should probably go to sleep like right now. But it's going to take me like an hour to get to sleep because I'm so hyped up, and it'll take me an hour to get back to my room. So, yeah.
That sucks.
Make sure you get 6 hours of sleep, even if you do miss that panel. I'm sure there'll be another version of that panel sometime in the future at another convention that you could go to. It's important because this thing called con crud, it happens when you don't get sleep. Happens when you mingle with people who don't wash. We'll get to that one later. And more importantly, it happens when your body is completely and utterly destroyed.
Drained of nutrients.
So, I think that's a good segue.
That's a good segue.
Yeah. So the next thing is at least 2 meals a day. That is easier said than done, believe it or not.
Always aim
for 3 meals, because then you'll get your 2 meals. That's the trick. Usually with me, I completely forget about lunch. I almost entirely forget about lunch. And I wake up, I get breakfast, because I usually find my friends also getting breakfast. So I'm like, hey, can I join you? And they're like, sure. And but if you don't have a lot of friends yet, it's your first convention, go get food.
Do it first thing.
Do it first thing in the morning. Get food from someplace. And then in the evening, get food, but like, don't go to 7-Eleven and don't like binge on bread and peanut butter, a jar of peanut butter.
Oh.
That's just bad. I know there's con diets and stuff like that, and usually that's 7-Eleven. And if that's all you can get, at least it's something.
It's something.
But try to get high quality food in you, and it'll help you avoid getting sick in the future.
At least once per day.
And at least once per day of high quality meal. And some conventions offer different tiers, and if you step up your membership on some conventions, they have a guest of honor dinner where they will rub shoulders with the guest of honor, like this nice juicy steak of venison over here. This is a guest and a food. Okay, no, just joking. Get over here. I'll cook you up later. The point we're getting is that the hotel will even provide you with a really nice meal that you paid for extra. Some of them are add-ons. You can get the general mission. I know Rainforest did that. You get general mission and then you could buy the add-ons. And those are really awesome, and they're definitely worth it. So that's something to keep in mind. But one of the things I had mentioned before about con crud is that people tend to smell really bad and they haven't washed or anything like that. The last thing is 1 shower a day, and that shouldn't be hard for anyone. You have no excuse. The hotel provides you with shampoo and conditioner and a soap, and if you forgot your deodorant, a lot of hotels have them on request. It shouldn't be very difficult at all. You shouldn't have to smell like anything. Companies have popped up
Within the community
to help get around this. Like, okay, I'm plugging this company because I love their stuff. They make high quality stuff. Contact Caffeine is a focused caffeine soap within the fandom. They have scent sticks if you need to be deodorized. They have soap if you just can't stand the stuff that they've got in the thing.
The hotel.
And they're at almost all the major conventions usually. Mally and John Deere always had
They're always somewhere.
They're somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's like really high quality stuff. God. Worth it.
Totally
worth it. You have no excuse. And if you're a fursuiter, at least 3 showers, in my opinion. Shoot for 3 showers and you'll get 2. At least after you get out of suit.
Once in the morning, once after suiting, and once at bedtime.
Yeah, because you're gonna stank.
Stank.
Whole bunch of stank.
Stank.
Moving on. Don't smell. Don't be that furry. When you don't shower, you basically, the reason why you smell is because of germs. Is because of bacteria that is growing on your skin. It's gross and grimy and nasty.
And then you share that.
And then you mingle with other people and hug onto them. Can I give you a hug with my smelly arms? Oh my god.
The germs.
Oh my god, I'm so happy to see you. I'm gonna rub my face all over your suit. Oh, don't fall. And that's how con crud spreads. The way you get con crud is by not showering or hugging someone who is not showered. The way you prevent con crud is by showering. The way you prevent con crud is by getting enough food, and by preventing con crud by getting enough sleep. All of these things are not just there so that you feel refreshed the next day. They're there so you don't get thrown in the hospital at the end of the convention. Because that's happened to a few of our friends.
That's happened to my daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Kids.
It's happened to kids. Because adults didn't shower. Shower. Don't be that furry. Shower. God, it's so nasty. Moving on. Okay. How much does it take to afford a convention? For me, from Seattle to Chicago for MFF, which I tend to make yearly, the airfare is about $350. The hotel share, split between 5 people, try to keep it smaller. We'll get into that in a moment. Is about $170, $180. The amount I usually budget for food for the whole weekend is about $200. I usually have a variable budget of about $100 to $200 for other things like
art, souvenirs, fursuit accessories.
Yep. Caffeine soap. So you can wash yourself. I'm not gonna let that go. I really want to drill this in.
You need to shower, people.
Be a responsible con-goer. Shower. Be a responsible con-goer.
Be that furry.
It's about $1,000 for me to fly to MFF, which is why it's usually pretty expensive.
That's a lot of money.
I used to go to about 2 a year, I think is what it was, 2. But in the last couple years, just because of my general traveling, I've stepped that up. I try to make about, well, I don't try, it just kind of happens now. This year I was projected to make 6 conventions, which is insane.
That's too many conventions.
That is a lot. It takes a toll on my work.
And does that count your other trips to like EDC?
No.
Or your 20-day stay in Australia. Oh, that does count the...
So I'm going to recap this real quick. I did FC already, Furdo, CBR Fur.
Yeah.
I'm projected to do Brazil FurCon.
Oh.
Which I haven't told you about that yet.
No, you haven't.
And MFF.
Yeah.
5.
That's 5. That's that many.
I was debating on whether I was going to go to BLFC or FWA, which is already passed.
Yeah, but you can't make it to BLFC because you'll be in Australia.
No, that's the weekend before I go to Australia.
Well, look at you.
Too many. Don't do that. Budgeting aside, what are things you shouldn't do? Well, I've heard and I've experienced this a couple times. Don't be this furry.
Yeah.
Please don't be this furry. If you do this, reevaluate your priorities. Don't neglect your real life for your convention life. Don't slough off your actual responsibilities of paying your rent and utilities, owning up to other obligations like debts,
or work
just to come to a convention.
Don't do it.
It's not worth it, and you'll only have like a temporary fix and come back to something that is a disaster, and you'll have like an intense reaction to, what? My water is being shut off. What? My power is being shut off. What? I'm being evicted. What do you mean I don't have a job? Yeah, that's a lot worse than going to a convention, and I've actually seen this happen to people. I don't get it. If you can't afford to go, don't go. Straight up. Some people have asked me, how do I go to all of these places? What do I do that allows me to go to all of these places? And it's quite simple. I save ridiculous amounts over a long period of time so that I have my entire trip paid for and saved up for before I leave. And if I can't do that, I don't go. That is right. I will buy a $3,000 plane ticket well in advance, knowing that if I don't have enough money, I'm not going. And that's a huge incentive to save up what you need to go. If you can't go because you can't afford to go, don't go. All right, so another one I want to talk to you about is hotel shares. Make sure you communicate with the person who has the hotel reservation that where you want to sleep, if you're getting a bed spot or a floor space. It's common for people to share more than the standard for, usually hotels only like 4 people per room, but it is pretty common to have 5 or 6 people in a room under the understanding that a couple people will be sleeping on the floor. Try to keep it a lot smaller than larger. I haven't experienced this, but I've heard of people doing like 8 plus people in a standard room, and they, people end up sleeping in the bathtub because that's the only space that's left that has a lot of space left to sleep. Try and keep it manageable in size, and after about 5 people, you don't notice much of a difference in cost savings. Because you split it up over more people, it doesn't mean you're going to get more savings. There's a point in which it just isn't worth it. If you're the person who made the reservation, it is actually your job to communicate with everybody more than the people who you told are in the room. If you don't want them in the room after you've already told them, don't push that off. Tell them that someone, a really good friend, or some sob story, or whatever you have to do to make yourself feel better about telling them that you don't want them in the room anymore, so that they have enough time to find it, so that they're not stranded when they arrive there and realize they don't have a room. I personally like to be paid well in advance. What that does is, and I like to pay well in advance, is it solidifies my spot in the room, and then I know that I have paid well in advance so that I don't have to worry about handing them cash when I arrive. PayPal is wonderful for this.
Take a deposit if you're the room reservation holder. Give a deposit if you want to guarantee your spot in a room.
There are risks to room shares, just like there are risks really with anything that you do in life. But I think the biggest one is don't be afraid to room with new people, because that's how I've met a lot of my friends. Is I'm just like, oh yeah, sure. Who are these people again? And then I have a blast hanging out with all of them. They're super chill. And then you have new friends. So don't feel bad about it. And most people really aren't out to get you. They're out to cut the cost of their hotel room. Communicate. It's key. Communication is key. And I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
If you can manage all of these things, the 621 rule especially, and all of its branches from the 621 rule, and you can budget for the convention, and you can make sure that you have your accommodation well in advance, and you can have a great time. And have a better time when you feel refreshed every day and don't get sick at the end of it. Freaking 6 hours of sleep, 2 meals a day, and at least 1 shower. Preferably 2.
Collie forgot to ask a question.
It took me a moment. I got a good question for you guys. If you've been to a convention before, tip that you could give to people that you've seen do stupid stuff before, or a tip for new people who are going to conventions that would prevent them from being that furry, drop it in the comment section below. And if you're brand new and you're just watching in, remember to like and subscribe and follow me on Twitter @BlazeCully. And with that, have a good one, everybody.